Diofield is a JRPG strategy game developed by Landcars Games and co-developed by Square Enix, which is why it has that Final Fantasy feel to it, despite the fact that it is a new IP. It has that classic Final Fantasy feel of being in a fantasy setting, but then it has that nice touch of magic tech mixed in. At first glance, this appears to be a classic turn-based strategy game.
So far, so good.
We need to be sure the bandit's target hasn't come to harm. To the carriage.
Similar to something you'd see in Final Fantasy Tactics, Fire Emblem, or even XCOM, but is actually using a real-time tactical-based system. So what does that mean? It means it's going to feel a bit more like StarCraft, or even Age of Empires. It does pause, however, when you make any type of movement commands or ability commands, so that does help it a lot.
Here goes.
Battles for me are the most interesting part of this game, but they can feel very confusing at first.
Be gone with you.
Was that an attack or a mosquito bite?
On my way.
So the way this works is you're given 4 main units, which you assign yourself into your war party. You can control each character's movement individually,
Go. On my way. Go.
or move them within groups.
Got it.
When moving from one location to another, you can set 2 waypoints on the way to your target location. Doing this allows you to be more precise with your approach, and can be pivotal in different aspects of the game, such as dodging enemy attacks,
I understand.
trying to get a sweet spot to hit ambush attacks,
On my way. On my way.
Got it.
Be gone with you. Next target.
or even to pick up orbs dropped by enemies such as health, MP, or the summon charges, but we'll talk more about those later.
Get another foe defeated. Understood.
When it comes to basic attacks, there are 2 types of variety, melee and ranged. Melee is pretty straightforward. You click on an enemy, your unit walks up and gives it a good whack. For ranged users, it's a little similar, however they have an overwatch cone, and they will automatically attack anything within that cone's view. I did, however, find this to be a little finicky at times, and I couldn't aim it right in some situations, it felt like.
I've got it.
The game really tries to make you manage your units. Early on there were plenty of times where I'd found my units standing idle while other ones were engaged in combat, so you need to make sure that when you have your melee attackers finished with their enemy, you have the next one clicked and ready to go. Same with your ranged cones, you gotta make sure they're lined up, otherwise they're gonna be sitting there looking like a chump filming a World Star video.
Target eliminated.
So the units are broken up into 4 classes: the soldier, the cavalier, sharpshooter, and magikar. And while 4 may not seem like a lot of classes, each class has at least 2 different paths they can go down and multiple different weapons they can equip, so even though 2 units may be the same class, they might feel totally different. Soldiers are the melee unit of the game. There's dagger users, sword and shield users, and axe users. The dagger ones feel more like assassins. They're good at moving around, jumping behind enemy lines, and using stats like poison to get the job done.
Another foe defeated.
Sword and shield users are a little more robust, and they're capable of stunning and even provoking targets to do damage directly to them. And axe users aren't in the game yet. As for Cavalier, there seem to be 2 branches of it, one that uses a horse and one that uses a dragon. The horse user uses a lance and has a lot of moves that kind of pierce through enemy lines and move them about.
Form ranks. Forward. Get another foe defeated.
Where the dragon user seems to breathe fire and shred enemies, but that unit wasn't available in the game, unfortunately. Then you have the sharpshooter, which is one of your first range classes.
You're much like my time to shine. I'll provide cover should the enemy spot you.
Sounds good. Let's go.
They use bows or firearms. Firearms weren't available in the demo, but the bows seemed pretty good, and you were able to do crits and even have a stun move, which is pretty useful.
Men, in position. Fire! Enemy down.
The next unit are the magic units that use staves and wands. Staves seem to be more damage based and they do quick heals.
Here, a bit of healing for you. You're no fun.
The wands, however, weren't in the game. They seem to do bigger heals and use flame magic. So on top of trying to equip the perfect weapon as well as accessories, you can also equip support characters. As I said, you only get 4, but you get way more characters than that in the game. When you have a character equipped as your support, it allows you to use their weapon skills that they have with your main unit. So that definitely adds a big layer of depth. There's also a mechanic called Magilumic Orbs, which seem to be summon related. There's probably going to be a bunch of these in the game, but in the demo they only gave you access to Bahamut, and he would absolutely death beam these poor bandits to death. They were not prepared.
Be gone with you.
So while there are a lot of mechanics and different things going on in the game did a very good job at slow rolling them to you and pacing it correctly, so that way you would get eased into each one slowly, kind of get the hang of it, and then they'd throw the next one at you, and it just felt very well paced overall. In the beginning, they focused a lot on unit management and making sure you were positioned correctly so you didn't get yourself overwhelmed by enemies coming from each side. They even teach you at one point to funnel enemies through a bridge so that way you don't get outnumbered.
The narrow point of access limits how many we'll need to face at once. It's to our advantage.
How reassuring. That's my reckoning too.
I think Leonidas would be proud.
Give them nothing, but take from them everything!
All ranks! Forward!
Once you get past that movement learning curve, they start trying to ease you into using weapon skills and abilities more often.
Glory to Alete!
Next target.
Even start putting some environmental factors in, like exploding barrels, encouraging you to hit those to kill multiple units at a time. Once you start getting the mixture of the movement and the weapons and the skill classes all down, it starts feeling really good when you're fighting things.
All ranks! Forward!
I'll take you down. Target eliminated.
Here goes!
Once you're out of battle, you'll be turned to the Orden House, which is your main mission hub. This mansion hub does everything you think it would. It lets you talk to your party members,
Serious?
However,
stock up on items, upgrade gear and abilities, read lore, you can check battle logs, all that good stuff. You can even go back and play previous missions so you can get the bonus objectives or just have a good old-fashioned grind fest. Pretty much the only thing you can't do in this hub is subscribe to my YouTube channel, which you can actually do right now, so thanks. To me, a big plus of this game was you never really had to spend too much time in this hub. You would get your cutscenes done, talk to NPCs, and move along pretty quickly. I don't think I ever spent more than like 10 or 15 minutes running around this hub, which I was really grateful for. The next battle always felt right around the corner. It wasn't like Triangle Strategy where you had to sit around and watch cutscenes for an hour hoping a battle would happen and then you just got another cutscene. No thanks.
A tiresome task.
Also, this game doesn't seem to have any in-depth relationship system. I kind of appreciate that because that actually turns me off a lot in these types of games when they just become relationship builders instead of battle strategy games. So I kind of appreciate that, but I do know a lot of people love those elements, so if that's something you're looking for, you might not enjoy this. The story seems okay so far, but it didn't do anything to grasp my attention right away. The plot is that Diofield is the continent you're on, and it's full of a precious gemstone called jade, which is used for magic and all kinds of good stuff. I guess it's the oil of this world, I suppose. And there's 3 countries, and 2 of them are at constant war with each other, but they don't have Jade on their island, so it seems pretty obvious that they're going to team up at some point and come to Diofield and start wreaking havoc on you, and you're going to have to defend your country or something. There also seems to be a lot of political struggle and strives for power going on in Diofield, a lot of rich elites in some parts, and then just country in others, so I'm sure that's going to come into play a lot too with the story. Also, most of the characters didn't really seem particularly interesting, but it could just be because the demo doesn't give us enough time with them to establish a relationship yet.
I am Frederick Lester.
Andreas Ronderson.
Isola Wigan, at your command.
Overall, I'm digging the game though. While the characters and story are leaving something to be desired, I think that can definitely come with the full package, but the battle system has me interested enough just from that final battle alone to want to keep going and seeing how deep and fun this combat and battle system can get.
Horus must be running out of minions to hide behind.
What was that?
The last boss in the demo, who I'm not going to spoil who it is, really forces you to manage everything you've learned so far. You have to manage your locations, your movement, controlling aggro, stunning or even dodging powerful attacks using weapon skills, all while trying to manage your magic resources and skills while making sure you're lining up your DPS to get those sweet little ambush spots. And once this all clicks, it just feels amazing. It made this game that felt kind of slow-paced actually feel really fast-paced when you were managing all these different things. It honestly reminded me of playing Final Fantasy XIV, only I was controlling the whole party instead of yelling at my tank for being in DPS stance and dying in one hit.
I'll take you down.
Overall, I dig the demo, and I definitely want to see more.
Understood. I've learned some new tricks.
Diofield comes out September 20th on every platform, and I think I'm definitely going to check it out on PC. But hey, that's just my opinion, and only yours matters at the end of the day, so go have fun.